And good evening, everybody. Welcome to All-Star Race Weekend, the continuation of All-Star Race Weekend here as we get ready for our final race for transfer spots before we get down to the nitty-gritty and get ready for our 3 All-Star races of the season. This is the Snickers Showdown, the final opportunity for drivers to make their way into the Season 8 NNSCRA Snickers Cup Series All-Star event. This is going to host all the drivers that have not picked up a win since last season's All-Star race or been to victory lane this season. As you see, Nathan Hudson out of Heavy Metal Motorsports sits on the pole position alongside of Coyotek Racing's Danny Wells. We also have a number of drivers in this field, 5 to be exact, that actually raced their way in here for one race deals with a chance to maybe go all the way and make their debut in the Snickers Cup Series All-Star race. They are at the rear of this field, and the winner of our Snickers shootout was Nicholas Romero, and he will line up there on the inside of, I believe that is row number, well, I'm not exactly sure. You'll see in your starting grid. Alongside of him is Kyle Thomas in the 40. They transferred in, as did Cody Hagan in the 11, Justin Talampas in the 29, and LJ Mills in the 62. So we'll keep an eye on them during the course of this race and see if one of them, or maybe 2 of them, could work their way up to finish first and second and transfer their way into the All-Star race. Anything is possible. But rookie Nathan Hudson is going to be the one that will lead us to green. James Qualls, another rookie, right behind him in 3rd. Tanner Sullivan, another rookie, lined up in 4th. And then Joshua Collard, the highest starting of the Mitsubishi Lancers, will start off in 5th. Big opportunity here for a number of manufacturers to make their way in. Mitsubishi Lancer does not yet have an entry into the All-Star race. All 3 of their cars, Brandon Gonzalez, Charles Sanford, and Joshua Collard, in this field. Same can be said for Audi. The only representative they have is Anthony McCrory, already locked in. Sullivan, Noah Hart, we could see them try and make their way into the All-Star race here tonight. But it all comes down to finishing first and second and getting the fan vote award. 10 laps of racing. Green flag is out here in the Snickers Showdown. And as we've seen all weekend long, that when they are all bunched up like this, it doesn't take long for a caution flag to happen. So we're going to have to see if these drivers can keep it together for 10 laps of racing. Somehow, the reward being so great, I don't see that's going to happen. Right now, they're double wide, though. It's when they start getting 4 wide that it starts getting a little testy. So they may be able to make it if they don't spread out too much here. Well, they're starting to fan out quite a bit here, and they are going to go 4 wide. Back there with Ralph Mason and Tanner Sullivan, some teammates out of Coyotek. This is not a good decision on their part, and oh, they're going to wreck. They are going to wreck. There they go. Charles Jackson, the first one to break loose. He collects Alex May. I think they're going to wreck up here, too. 3 Coyotek drivers and a William Duncan on the inside line. Oh, look at Isaac Canepa down on the apron there. They're still keeping it clean for now. 5 wide. Brandon Gonzalez tried it. He backs out of it smartly, though. Canepa trying to find a way to get back up there. He's gotten blocked in by Silver Fox. Look at Sean Henley almost get pushed to the apron. Courtesy, I believe that was... Which car is that? I can't make it out. That's Dougie Shears in the 21. There's still 4 wide back here. Henley, Shears, Sullivan, and Qualls. Caution flag is out, but we may not be done with wrecks. Oh, they're leaning on each other, bouncing off each other. Qualls and Sullivan and Shears. They're keeping it together, though. Can they make it down here to the line? They're going to try. They're 4 wide up ahead of them for the lead between Matthews, Gonzalez, and company. And there they go. Whoa, Qualls snaps loose. There goes Dougie Shears. Danny Wells gets collected as he spins. Tanner Sullivan is involved as well. And oh, I don't like the look of this if other drivers come piling in. They're all going to the apron. I think they're all going to avoid. Sanford gets by. And there's more wrecking up ahead, I think. No, I guess not. Alright, I guess they got through it. That could have been a lot worse than it was. There's Danny Wells. I think he just basically got spun out. And there's the car that started it all, Charles Jackson. He got a shove from somebody. I don't know who, but his car just shot up towards the outside retaining wall. And we saw him collect a couple of drivers, and as a result, he clipped Alex May, and I'm not exactly sure who else was collected. There was Cody Hagan, one race deal. It raced his way in. That car is badly damaged on the FedEx Toyota. Nicholas Romero, another driver that was one of those one race deal transfer drivers, he's damaged. Alex May sits on the pit lane, so too does Joshua Balkowitz. LJ Mills is involved. And at the line, Joshua Collard apparently was able to beat out Kyle Matthews, and he is scored as the race leader over Nathan Hudson, William Duncan, and Ralph Mason, the rest of the top 5. So let's jump back, take a look at a replay of what happened. We had 2 wrecks take place. The first one apparently was a lot worse than the second one, but we're going to take a look at both of them as we're pacing under caution here in the Snickers Showdown. Well, the way that we saw Charles Jackson's car just shoot towards the outside retaining wall can only mean one thing. He apparently got hooked in the right rear. And we're going to see if we can find out where the initial contact took place here. Right behind him on his high side is Zachary Fitzwater, and it actually looks like Charles Jackson came up off the nose of Fitzwater. Fitzwater didn't come down. There you see Alex May getting the wall. There's another car caught up behind them. I believe that's Cole Daly in the 88. And then Alex May's car is going to slide down. There's where contact happens for the 77 of Romero, I believe. That was Bob Jones also involved. Lawler does a nice job getting by on the high side. LJ Mills, I don't think got involved at this point. Balkowitz didn't either. I think something else happens further up, but there you see Cody Hagan in the 11. His car just darted towards the inside retaining wall and hit it really, really hard. But we got to look up here because something happens with LJ Mills, and I'm not rightly sure what it is. Oh, right there, Nicholas Romero comes back up track and right into LJ, and I believe that's Bob Jones in the 27. It's going to take a hard lick into the wall, too. That is indeed the case. Yeah, that was the 27. LJ was trying to come back up on track, so was Nicholas Romero, and LJ just hooked the 77 and 27 and absolutely nowhere to go. And then there's where Balkowitz gets his damage, and Sanford splits the gap and gets through, but Balkowitz had gotten through that first wreck there in the Whataburger 91 Ford out of V8 Rogers, Motorsports, and oh man, there you see Alex May also hitting the 91. That's how he got even more damage. So a number of drivers that were involved in the wreck end up getting involved in a follow-up wreck just a few hundred yards away. But we had something else happen as they crossed the stripe. Let's take a look at a replay of that. And this is where it's going to break out for the most part. Watch the 20 of Tanner Sullivan, the 21 of Dougie Shears. I believe this is where the initial contact is going to begin. Oh, right there, actually. Someone got hooked. Which car is that? I believe... I'm trying to pinpoint these cars. I think Noah Hart hooked around one of those machines. I can't make out who that is. He hooked somebody. We may actually be able to go to our TV1 camera for this one. Let's see if we can. Okay, the car he would have hooked would have been the 56 of Kyle Corbett. And let's see if we can... Oh, this will be a good camera angle. Watch the 81 side by side with Danny Wells. He's going to come down into the 56, the gold car. Right there. That hooks Corbett up into Sullivan. Sullivan hooks down into Dougie Shears. Oh, and Sean Henley gets a piece of that too. He got sideswiped by the 56. Qualls goes up, gets the wall. Sullivan goes up and gets the wall. Then when Sullivan comes down, he runs into the passenger side door of Danny Wells. And then, I believe there's more contact. That might have been Dougie Shears that comes down. He clips the rear of the 4. And Danny's car ends up spinning around there in the middle of the straightaway heading into turn 1, which I thought was going to be basically a death sentence. I mean, the last place you want to be sitting is in the middle of a track at a place where they go almost 200 miles an hour. And you can't really see through the smoke. There you can see it now. Canepa actually gets a piece of this as well. And here comes Jacob Lawler in the 5. His teammate Cole Dow in the 88. They were able to get through. And there's Sean Henley. Did he hit the inside wall? Or did he save it? Well, he's going to get bounced off of, I believe it's by Kyle Corbett. His car goes into a 4-wheel slide. And let's see if he does hit the wall. He may nose it just a bit. I don't know how much contact he makes. There you see the hit. He was going about 110 at the time. Wasn't really one of those straight into the wall shots. He at least was kind of going parallel with the wall. But I don't know how much damage that's going to cause in the Pfizer Viagra Chevrolet. Nonetheless, though, we're under caution. We're getting ready to go back to green, so let's head back there now. So the pace car's lights are out, which indicates that we have one more lap to go before we get back to green flag racing, which will make it a 5-lap shootout to finish out this evening's event. Lap 6 when we go back to green. Joshua Collard is the current leader right now, trying to make a case for Mitsubishi to get themselves into their very first All-Star race. Kyle Matthews lines up second. Nathan Hudson is in third. Fourth place, William Duncan. Fifth place will be Ralph Mason. Brandon Gonzalez now up in sixth. Seventh is Sean Henley, so he was able to continue on. He actually didn't even come to pit road to change the tires, which I'm certain would have gotten flat spotted, but nonetheless, he's still seventh. Didn't want to give up that track position. Eighth place, Noah Hart. Ninth place is Danny Wells. And James Silverfox completes the top 10. Then you got Ashley LaPlante in 11th, 12th12th Lawler, Cold Alley 13th, 14th Justin Talampas, and Kyle Thomas now runs in the 15th position. As the pace car is peeled off, we're ready to go back green. Joshua Collard getting ready to get us back underway. And we do have drivers that are out of the race as a result of what we saw. Tanner Sullivan, Nicholas Romero, Alex May, Bob Jones, Joshua Balkowitz, and LJ Mills will not make the All-Star race as they have retired from this evening's event. Ralph Mason, the first one to duck out of line up there at the front. He'll go for fourth place off of William Duncan. Single file right now between the top three, a Mitsubishi Lancer, a Chevy Camaro, and a Ford Fusion. And now a Pontiac in the fourth position. When you think about it, there's really not a whole lot of teammate opportunity for a number of drivers. The only ones that really have a lot of teammate opportunities are Hendrick Daly Motorsports, Coyotek Racing, and basically for the most part as well, Gonzalez Motorsports. Right now it's become a 6-car breakaway at the front of the field, and I'm not exactly certain why, but I have a suspicion that it could have had something to do with the Sean Henley machine, because he's now fallen back. He's actually getting passed right now by teammate Danny Wells. I think Henley was not completely up to speed. Apparently the damage on the front of that machine when he nosed it into the inside retaining wall was enough to have him off the pace. Justin Talampas right now is the highest running of those one-race deal drivers that made their way in via the Snickers Showdown shootout. Right now he is running, I believe, in the 9th position behind James Silverfox and Cole Daly. They're actually starting to catch up here to that lead pack once again. Here's Ashley LaPlante, Noah Hart back here, Danny Wells, and Kyle Thomas is now the second highest running of those one-race deal drivers. Number of stragglers back there I saw, including Cody Hagan in the 11, Sean Henley in the 57. Doesn't look like they're going to come into play into transferring into the All-Star race because they do not appear to be up to speed. Ralph Mason now the leader, trying to get his Pontiac into the All-Star race. Anthony McCrory certainly hoping one of his teammates gets in via transfer because he's the only Coyotek Audi currently locked into the All-Star race, and he could certainly use a teammate when the Snickers Cup Series All-Star race comes around. It's kind of a helpless feeling when you come into a restrictor plate race knowing that basically your friends are where you find them. You're not able to work with a teammate, and they're getting awfully racy back there for about 5th position on back. James Silverfox made a very bold move there, 3 wide, almost touched the apron in one of those corners as he went underneath Justin Talampas. But he was able to make it work, and we are still green. Brandon Gonzalez seems pretty content to ride behind Ralph Mason right now, and why wouldn't he be? Top 2 transfer into the All-Star race. If Gonzalez ends up racing Ralph Mason, that pack behind them is going to catch up to him. If he runs right behind Ralph Mason, the two of them could be able to maintain some distance between themselves and third and both transfer into the All-Star race. But it ain't over yet. Crossing the stripe, 3 more laps to go, and that pack behind them has caught their draft, and they're starting to run them down now. William Duncan heading that pack, along with Jacob Lawler the defending Snickers Cup Series champion. We talk about how the All-Star Race weekend is a time for drivers to kind of assess their season. In this top 4, it's kind of interesting. You've got Ralph Mason and William Duncan, who have been having really good seasons, and then you got Brandon Gonzalez and the defending champ Jacob Lawler, who have been having horrible seasons. So, 4 drivers, 4 entirely different sides of the spectrum as far as how their momentum and how their season has been going. Don't count out a couple of these other drivers back here, though. You got a possibility here for Gonzalez Motorsports teammates to work together. Joshua Collard right there, not too far behind his teammate Brandon Gonzalez. Nathan Hudson, the pole sitter, he's up here. He's now in the 5th position. And Justin Talampas could be the long shot driver. He made his way in to this event by finishing, I believe it was in the 4th position in the Snickers Showdown shootout. He'd love to transfer into the All-Star race, going coast to coast from the shootout to the All-Star race. James Silverfox back there as well. Kyle Matthews back there. So a couple other drivers that you got to watch out for that could come into play in the closing stages of this race. As at the line, it's going to be a drag race between the Camaro of Lawler and the Mitsubishi Lancer of Collard. I believe Lawler on the high side was able to get that lap, but he is stuck on the high side, and they are ganging up down low. Collard to the point, Hudson into 2nd, Gonzalez moves to 3rd, 4th place is going to be Talampas, and now Silverfox lines up to take 5th place. Cole Daly, we saw him actually get a little piece of that first incident. Apparently he is still up to speed though. He's up here in the mix, and you got 3 of the Hendrick Daly Motorsports cars up here that can work together, the 5, 24, and 88. Coyotek Racing's got James Silverfox and Ralph Mason up here. Gonzalez Motorsports with Collard and Gonzalez. You think maybe the the Fords of William Duncan and Nathan Hudson may work together, even though they are out of different Ford teams. Duncan out of Young Duncan Motorsports and Hudson out of Heavy Metal Motorsports. The lone man out that needs to try and find some friends is the 29 of Justin Talampas. His Michael Norman Motorsports teammates are nowhere to be found. LJ Mills a long ways back. Bob Jones was involved in that wreck. Actually, I believe LJ Mills is out of the race as well. As right now, it is Brandon Gonzalez leading the way. We talked about how BMW, they've got 2 entries into the All-Star race, making their debut in the All-Star race for Snickers Cup. Mitsubishi Lancer would love to do the same, and right now, Gonzalez Motorsports' owner, Brandon Gonzalez, looks like he may be doing just that, making a case for himself to get into that All-Star race. White flag was just displayed. Next time by, the first 2 to cross the stripe make their way into the Snickers Cup Series All-Star race for Season 8. Here comes William Duncan. He's got Jacob Lawler and Justin Talampas helping him as they're going to try and run down the 23 of Gonzalez. Oh, now Lawler takes a peek down low. He's going to go for 2nd place off of William Duncan. Talampas, I think, has found himself a drafting partner, because wherever the 5's going, he seems to go. And not right behind them, Cole Daly's up here in the mix now. Look at the 88 coming up through the field. Right there in your shot, those are the drivers that I think are going to sell this thing out. The fact of the matter is, though, which one of these 2 drivers is going to be the first ones to get to the stripe? Lawler now pulls out to the lead. Talampas now moves into 2nd. Now he's the guy in the hot seat because Cole Daly wants to get that transfer spot. Let's focus on this battle for 2nd here. Talampas has it. Daly behind him. Then you got Nathan Hudson. Then you got Joshua Collard. Will they make a move here as we're coming down to the final few turns of this racetrack? Or can Talampas get to the inside of Lawler and kick him out of line and maybe cost Lawler a spot of transferring? If Daly's going to make a move, he's got to make it quick because this is the final stretch. Daly, will he make a move on the inside of the 29? He doesn't really have any drafting partner to be able to work with. Ralph Mason's about a half car length back, and it looks like Talampas is going to pull off the long shot. The defending champ, Jacob Lawler, is going to win the Snickers Showdown. He transfers in, and Justin Talampas, who had to race his way into the Showdown via the shootout, now races his way into the All-Star race via the Showdown. He pulled off the long shot, and he's going to make his debut in the Snickers Cup Series All-Star race. It almost was Hendrick Daly Motorsports sweeping the top 2 spots, But Talampa spoils the party, and he's going to represent M&M in the All-Star race. And Jacob Lawler, could this be the turning point for what's been an abysmal season for the Farmers Insurance Chevy Camaro team to be able to go for their second straight Snickers Cup Series championship? Could this be the moment that turns it all around for him? I don't know, but we're about to find out. The last time that Jacob Lawler raced at FTF, he was declared the champion in the Snickers Cup Series in Season 7, and now he wins the Snickers Showdown. I don't know. We're going to have to find out. So we know Lawler is transferred in via the win. Justin Talampas transfers in via finishing second. And folks, Mitsubishi Lancer will be represented. The fan vote winner for the All-Star race here in Snickers Cup is going to be Charles Sanford. He finishes 12th here tonight, but he will transfer into the All-Star race via the fan vote award. So it'll be interesting to see how Mitsubishi Lancer does in their debut in the Snickers Cup Series All-Star event. What a race, what a finish, and what a couple of transfer drivers here. The defending champ, the long shot driver, and the debut Mitsubishi Lancer driver, all transferring their way into the All-Star race, where they'll join the other drivers already locked into this season's Snickers Cup Series All-Star race event. Dylan Poteet's going to be on tap to be joining me for the 3 All-Star races, Oreo Mobile and Snickers. Hope you'll tune in for those, as we are now finished with the transfer races. Now we get down to the nitty-gritty of the main races here for All-Star Race Weekend before we get ourselves geared up for the second half of the regular season, the chase to the chase. Here comes your official finish results from this evening's race. Jacob Lawler, Justin Talampas, and Charles Sanford transfer their way into the All-Star race. As you've been watching production of the NNSCRA, Offline Racing as Best All-Star Race Weekend continues to roll on.